Culture wars are raging in Florida and dividing families. Some parents claim the public school system is trying to indoctrinate their children with woke ideologies. Initially, being woke meant to be aware of systemic inequalities, but the term is now being used to disparage progressive ideas. Catalina Stubbe is the president of Moms for Liberty, a conservative group that works in part to get certain books banned from schools.
I remember my little one asking me, what is gay? At probably 6-year-old. Talking those topics with my little ones is awkward, but we live in a world where either you teach them, either government is going to teach them on their way, on their ideologies, so we don't trust anymore the education system.
All 4 of Stubbe's children go to public school. Her eldest, Leah Marie, is 16, and she too believes teachers are trying to influence her generation.
I don't care if you're gay or straight, if you want to be a boy or girl, just don't teach us about it. Let us do our own decision, let us ourselves learn about it, because if we feel it, then we felt it on our own, we figured it out. We don't need people pushing those ideas into our minds when they weren't there in the beginning.
Parental rights are now a key part of the conservative agenda, capitalizing on the idea that parents, no matter their politics, want to control their children's education.
We became the new political party. It's the year of the parent, and parents are awake, and we want parental rights as the first cause in this nation.
Ron DeSantis, the Republican governor of Florida, has embraced the culture wars and was re-elected by a landslide even in Miami, a once reliably Democratic city. DeSantis' conservative push is worrying many minority groups, including the LGBTQ community.
Florida, I love it. It's my home, and I feel like it is currently under attack right now by the legislature and by Ron DeSantis, who want to turn it into a place that is dangerous for people like me.
Last year, Florida passed a law banning classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity. A controversial law that critics dubbed Don't Say Gay.
Ron DeSantis is trying to expand the Don't Say Gay law to ban, pronouns that people might choose to use for themselves, that they might be more comfortable with. School, by its very definition, is a place of learning, a place of, open discussion and really grappling with ideas that kids might otherwise not be introduced to.
DeSantis' war on woke doesn't stop at gender identity discussions. The Florida governor's other main target is how racial issues are taught in school. At Florida's International University, professors are concerned.
Our working conditions are your learning conditions, and your learning conditions are the bedrock of the economy here in the state of Florida. And the impact is not just on whether or not a professor has tenure. It's on whether or not that professor feels comfortable doing their research and teaching here in the state of Florida.
Last year, Florida passed the Stop Woke Act, which barred any discussion on race and gender that would imply privilege and make people feel guilty about their status. While this law was put on hold by a judge, another bill is currently in the works. The goal this time is to block state colleges from having programs on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as critical race theory. A bill that will likely be passed by the Republican-controlled legislature.
In the past, we've been able to rely on the fact that we've had Democratic allies in Congress and in the legislature that have meant that these kinds of bills had no hope in getting through. With the most recent election, however, with these super majorities, DeSantis now feels empowered to pass through whatever legislation he wants. He's willing to sacrifice these institutions that countless people have spent years building up at the altar of his national political ambitions.
While he hasn't formally announced yet, Ron DeSantis is widely expected to run for the 2024 election. And some believe that his attacks on public schools are a way to silence the opposition.
Education's targeted because it's the single biggest threat to elites in a democracy. Teachers are afraid, and you see it all the time. And in part, that's what these bills are designed to do, more than any concrete outcome. These bills are vague and almost impossible to follow. So what they're trying to do is to scare people into self-censorship.
By focusing on culture wars, DeSantis is trying to endear himself to the Republican base, especially Donald Trump supporters. But it could also alienate independents and moderate voters who are often key in winning the presidency.